Yeah, doing good. A couple of things. As always, crazy week in crypto.
No shit.
Yeah.
The
So-
news gets weirder and weirder.
Oh man. Actually insane.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like, especially now that, um, of course, the contagion that comes from the whole FTX
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But also just the systemic corruption that lies at the core of this whole thing, like up to the government and everything, and
Yeah.
the media being controlled, and it's
Oh man, the
insane.
media's take on it has been an absolute joke. Like they've been
Yeah,
very favorable to FTX
yeah,
as a company. Like what the hell? Like are you kidding me? You're actually
exactly.
kidding me.
And Uh, and the funny thing is, I read a post like from someone who's obviously against the whole mass media or whatever people call it, and they said like, hey, now we see, because this is a subject that we know a lot about. Now we actually see how the media is spinning everything in a different light. So just
Yeah.
imagine how everything gets spun on subjects that you don't know
Exactly.
enough about.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, and I find that a very compelling argument. Like, yeah, there's not a lot that I know so much about that I can see the way that media is spinning. Like, of course, I've been a nurse, so I could see a lot about the whole COVID thing,
Mm-hmm.
and and there were a couple of things that I wasn't in agreement with, but then again, of course, I'm a nurse, I'm not a virologist, so
Yeah.
I have a different take on things, but there's room for error. But
Mm-hmm.
this is different. This is obviously criminal, and they're portraying it in such a different way, and now it kind of feeds
Mm-hmm.
my distrust towards
Oh yeah.
the media. Like I wasn't
Good,
so
good.
trusting. I wasn't so
Yeah,
trusting to begin with, but
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it kind of underlines everything.
Well, it's kind of also funny that it depends. It depends who it is. What the issue is that in relation to, because I'm pretty sure earlier this year, with things like Luna, that was a big story.
Hmm.
Obviously, the media
Yeah.
didn't really hold back. Like they didn't have nice things to say really about Luna
No.
and that
No.
debacle. But fast forward to FTX, is pretty much the same thing.
No.
Like
Yeah.
actually probably worse, because they were gambling with customers'
It's
money.
much worse. I mean, Luna
They're
got
committing fraud.
exploited.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luna got
Yeah, Luna
exploited
was like, poor
on a
design.
tokenomic.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor design, like a tokenomically poor design. Like the code was alright, but the tokenomics weren't. Like,
Yeah.
but FTX is positively criminal. So it's
Yeah, and
different.
it's like they've the media's totally different opinions on both things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, welcome everyone to Grape Finance's weekly AMA. Today I'm here with LB again. Welcome, LB.
Hey guys, thanks for listening in.
And I am Nikki, your host as always. Um, Almost always. Sometimes, I've been sick. Happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah, majority of the time,
um,
like 99%.
right? Right. Exactly. Okay. I didn't see a lot of questions, but I do see a decent crowd, and there's something in the live chat going on again. Um, oh yeah, that's a reaction to the FTX thing. So once we get to the live chat, we'll probably respond on that. That probably means that once again, Rainbow needs to, add the start before the official opening. But that's all right. Um, let's see. AMA questions. Moving up to Neat Grape. This is a funny question to start with. Hey, Ligma Bulls. Ligma, as in LIGMA.
Yeah.
Absolutely, what LB stands for. You cannot tell me otherwise. All right then. All right, that's then a fact now in your mind. That's okay. Um, what does a day in the life of the Grape team look like? Do you all hang out in voice chat and brainstorm, sip wine by the beach, 8-hour days with paid lunch breaks and a strong Grape union? Is there a quota for shit talking in Discord? um, I would like that, right? Sip wine by the beach with
If I'm,
lunch breaks.
yeah,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't mind, especially since when I look outside right now, the weather's terrible. So I would gladly come over to Australia where it's
yeah,
summer or
it's getting
spring,
hot here.
and yeah, sip wine by the beach with LB and have some lunch break
Yeah,
while
yeah,
brainstorming. I would
yeah.
definitely
Well,
like that.
I mean, it'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, like it's we have the ability to do that, but we are kind of like
Mhm.
obviously an international team. We're spread out all
Yeah,
over the place. Um,
yeah,
so all pretty much all our communications, through Discord, really. But I guess like what in terms of the team and how we sort of work together, it depends as well in terms of what like we're releasing, what we're doing, upcoming. Different people have different roles, and we discuss things, often like almost daily, pretty much in our core team chat, as well as with the moderators in the moderators chat, and kind of you know discuss ideas here and there and plans of action and things like with things coming up that need to be done. We discuss amongst the people that would fill that role, and
yeah,
essentially we're kind of like an autonomous group where people know what they need
yeah.
to do, and they kind of work together to do it, and take initiative as well on their own, which is really good. Uh,
Yeah, that is very nice, and that was what I was going to say as well. Because the different things that Neat Grape states here all are sort of like a business structure where you go to
mhm.
work and work
Yeah,
there
yeah,
until you're done, right? I
yeah.
think if we would have done that, then we would have been broke by now. Because um, yeah, because
Yeah,
that would be a lot of salary paid,
yeah.
and there would be a lot of travel expenses paid. Um, and I don't think the protocol was already able to sustain such a thing. Like right now, we're all responsible for our own lives, and we work when we can, when we have something to add, and then we do that for the protocol. Um, but if I, for example, would you know go to Australia often, or you would come to Europe often, or something like that, or I would have a constant work goals and whatever, and they'd be obligatory instead of right now, like we just call whenever you have great ideas and we discuss them as they come, out of our own volition. Um, if all of that would be obligatory in some way, then it would be very expensive, and I don't think that would have been good. At the same time, though, of course, if you go and sip wine by the beach with lunch breaks and have brainstorm sessions, obviously good things are going to come out of that. So I think if the bull market would have remained, or if it would have gone on for longer, we would have, protocol-wise, have a lot more money right now. It might be, um, and then it might have been wise to make such an effort to actually get the whole team together in a certain place, and actually, structure them in a different way, or get things going, or brainstorm all together, because there's obviously some good things coming out of such a venture.
Mm-hmm.
Just right now, I personally think that the investment is too risky because you're changing something certain, which is protocol funds, for something uncertain, which is good ideas. And right now, the good ideas can already come with the way that we're speaking right now. It's just that, yeah, it's a little bit less focused, but I think we're doing all right right now. And I also like that we're all responsible for our own lives. Like that also means that we can do whatever we want, right? I had a recent discussion with someone else of a fledgling team that's coming up, and we were discussing that all of us are actually free to try and do stuff in different projects or in different teams, simply because we're not beholden to the one team. If you decide that you have enough time to work on a different project, then you absolutely can. And the same for me or anyone else. And or if I or if Nick decides that we need to spend some time mining fiat, then we absolutely should. Because it's a difficult market and we all need to survive, and it's not the protocol's responsibility to keep us alive, it's our own. So that from my end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of a long story from my end. I like the question though. It's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Fizzle wants a trading bot update.
Yeah. We have a couple of things have happened. We've so initially I put some money into a range of bots on Astrobit. I ran them for about a month, maybe a month and a half. Some of them did all right in terms of the bots. Some of them did like lost money in the chop and in the sort of, the market's been kind of tough with no clear structure. Like, okay, we're bear market, we're down, essentially short, but you can't just sit in a short because you will be liquidated. Is the problem? It's there's no like clear structure. It ranges, which in other words is like known as chop. And when you trade in chop, you can get chopped up basically. It's difficult. But so in other words, some of those bots did all right. Some of those bots did not great. They lost some money, but overall they kind of broke even and I guess lost money with taking into account the fees, subscription fees. So they lost a little bit overall. But then I also put some into Sweet Eaters bots, a guy from Twitter. They did all right. They run a different strategy where they essentially DCA, and they can be underwater for a little while if the market goes one way too much, and you're kind of stuck. Which I noticed happens sometimes, but they never got liquidated or anything like that. It's more they just have to wait until you DCA enough to be able to exit at a profitable position. Oh, when we have like a mean reversion, in other words. They did all right actually. So overall, they made about I think like almost $2.5 grand profit. And then minus a couple $100 for fees, 3 commas fees, and their fees as well. So just probably under $2 grand net profit from that, and so that's about 10% return. And that was running for about a month and a half. So that's not too bad. But the problem with that bot is he's ended that now. With the FTX, he was suggesting a lot of customers to use FTX because they get a deal on 3 commas, and I didn't want to use FTX. It was a very good decision on my part, in hindsight.
Yeah.
So our funds are sweet. Obviously, I didn't store anything on FTX.
Mhm.
But he's ended that bot service now. So I have to take funds out of there and essentially move to a new bot, which I have been looking at Alchemy as some of their using their grid for some of the big pairs, so I can just kind of set and let that run. I've also been running kind of like a test with Martingale Syndicate, and they do a kind of hybrid approach where they run the bot. Sometimes they run like a super trend bot when there is essentially like a clear trend, like a clear structure. We're not just chopping, we're not just going sideways and kind of having liquidation spikes all the time. So they do that in that sort of in a good market where you have a trend, and then otherwise they do manual trades, which to be honest is probably the best way to go for risk management, because I funny enough, I used to code trading bots from the period of 2018, 2019. I did that a lot, kind of on the side, but also daily. And what I found from my own experience in that time was that there's really no one bot that you can just set and forget forever to generate you money forever. If you're looking for that, it doesn't exist. You will lose money eventually if you run with that sort of strategy. So if you want a bot to be profitable, you kind of need to always tweak it, always manage it, and the best approach really is to have bots for different market structures and different essentially different trends, like and then if you can mix in, if you're a good trader, you can mix in manual trades as well. And so that's why I think I'll put some more into the Martingale now that we have to get rid of the FTX ones, even though they went on F. But I'm just talking about the Sweet Eater Twitter bots. Now that we have to get rid of that, I'll kind of move. We've got an extra like 20 grand there that I'm going to put into Alchemy and Martingale Syndicate for a variation of grid bot that can run on major pairs, and then with Martingale, a trend bot, a super trend bot, but then also manual trades run by a professional team. So I think that'll be a good
This is interesting
mix.
because what you say is very real. Of course, every kind of market would need a different strategy, and I can fully imagine if we're in a sideways kind of market that a grid bot would do exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And of course, a martingale strategy, to my mind, would need a definite trend upwards or downwards. And right now, everybody and their mother is saying that we are nearing the end of our downward trend. Is it then not a very risky thing to be going with a martingale trading situation?
Well, I mean, that's what the fund is called.
Oh,
Martingale
right.
Syndicate.
They're not necessarily martingaling.
Yeah. It's they run several different bots. Their main bot is a super trend bot, but they also do manual trades, which is whenever there's some sort of clear structure, some sort of clear price action that they can act manually on, using various indicators and whatnot to then trade on that indicator, essentially. So I mean, I've been running that for like 2 weeks now, and it's done all right. I think it's made like 5%, almost 10% actually. Their fees are a little bit higher, but they take fees from only from performance anyway. So if they don't make money, then they don't get any fees. There's no like subscription like some other bots and whatnot.
That's nice. That's nice. There's also, I think the Kawaii bots are a thing. I'm not sure if you're in with Surfacing, who's creating those.
Well, essentially, I mean, the Martingale Syndicate, I'm pretty sure is behind that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. All right, so they are the same thing. Cool. Because I just knew them as Kawaii bots, so you have a deeper understanding there. Okay. Well, for those people who do not know what grid trading is, that essentially means that the bot automatically buys when the price is going lower than your set price, and it automatically sells when the price is going higher than your set price. Which means that if the price goes sideways, up and down, then the grid bot makes money. However, if the trend suddenly goes up, then you definitely make a lot less money than you would if you would be hodling. And if the grid trading, if the price goes down, then you would simply buy a lot of that token, and well, eventually you would end up with a lot of that token, and you'd be underwater. So that's the grid trading bot, and martingaling is essentially a gambling idea where whenever when you take a certain risky position, and whenever you fail, you double your your bet, so to speak, so that at some point you're gonna win, and then you're gonna win what you originally started your bet with. It's all nice to be researching that, but that's what I'm gonna say about it right now, so that everyone who might not have understood understands it. Okay. Next would be, hey, Legally Blonde, how much is the protocol going to supply to Finium markets?
Well, we have about 60 grand in free capital. That's not including the bots, which will probably supply to various markets, at least in the beginning, to kind of jumpstart it and see how it goes from there. But I'm also going to. There's one thing I'll probably mention is that I will be. I've noticed with the interest rates, there's some adjustments I want to make. Because one of the things we're going to be doing, obviously, in technically phase 2 is focusing on leverage, focusing on allowing looping with different LPs and whatnot. And obviously, with that, you want to make sure that the borrowing APR or APY isn't too high, so that it cancels out the profitability of actually looping. Then, so and partly now I've kind of noticed that it does. If the utilization is too high, or not even too high, maybe like 40%, 45%, the jump rate is too high on the interest, which kind of would make it unprofitable for people to be looping. So I will be adjusting the interest rates to kind of make it so that we can have a higher utilization with a lower borrow APY, and therefore be more profitable for looping. So that's something we will be doing this week and for launch.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a different solution, and I kind of like it. I was also thinking about how to solve this issue where you kind of want people to get the correct interest, but you also want a protocol to sort of guarantee that people are able to withdraw their collateral when they want to. Of course, you cannot fully guarantee it, but and my solution had something to do with a sort of a set aside insurance kind of thing, but this is actually nice. The what you just described, where you simply adjust the rates and then just put the whole thing up as collateral. Yeah, cool.
We will have
Interesting.
some, insurance fund obviously as well, as it kind of needs to build up, but obviously, we will keep some funds aside for, exactly like you say, topping up to allow people to withdraw if they need, if it's too high, and as well for any sort of small debt or whatever. And, you have an insurance fund because you want to insure the protocol basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, for those people who don't follow, if everyone puts up a lot of collateral, but for example, you have a large part of that. So, for example, if there is 150K collateral in USDC, but your part of that is 50K USDC, and then a lot of that gets borrowed out. Then you might come into a situation where you want to withdraw all of your collateral, but you can't simply because it's been loaned out. And that's the kind of situation that you want to resolve. Of course, if you're a smaller fish and you just have 5K USDC, there's no way that you will not be able to withdraw because there's a margin between the amount of collateral available and the amount that can be borrowed. So it's more like we need to ensure that the big ones are not stuck, because that would be bad. Okay. All right. Hey, Larry Bird, when Vinium Discord?
Oh yeah, this week. Yeah, so this week, probably tomorrow, we're gonna open the Discord, and then on Wednesday we're gonna do phase 1 public launch, and then essentially phase 2 will come probably a couple of weeks after that, which will be implementing a whole bunch of LPs for different looping opportunities, like GLP, like try crypto on Curve and other sort of auto compounding tokens that can get yield, but then you can also borrow against to leverage up essentially.
All right. Sorry, I had to correct Neat Grape here in the chat. So is gonna be this week, and it's gonna be Wednesday, because
Yeah.
it wasn't last Friday. Like when? Okay, so it's gonna be this week and it's gonna be Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to it. In this aspect, I'm just like Neat Wen or whoever from the community. Like I just wanted to launch, man. It's just great. Okay, we're moving on to Saint, who says, "Hey, Loose Bree. It's not Bruce Lee, but what's your favorite thing to do outside of DeFi, and do you know Kung Fu?"
I don't know Kung Fu. No, I have done jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a while though.
Oh, you're
But
down to the ground.
yeah, and judo.
Hmm.
But outside of crypto, I mean, I like cars. I have a couple cars that I modify and drive around. Not very recently. It takes a lot of time. It's also a bit of a money hole. But
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Well, it's asked to you, like, so I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. Saint also is asking. Also, can you give a quick run through of ZK Sync and that tag? Do you even know it?
oh yeah, ZK Sync. What's the layer 2? I'm sure you guys know what a layer 2 is. It's a layer 2 on Ethereum. So, you have other layer 2s on Ethereum like Optimism, Arbitrum, Big Metis. I mean, Polygon's more like a side chain. But, it's a scaling solution for Ethereum. And right now you have technically like two main L2 scaling solutions for Ethereum, which is optimistic rollups and then ZK rollups. They use two different ways to essentially verify transactions. Because what happens is that people submit transactions on this layer 2, and then these transactions are batched and sent to the main chain, in this case Ethereum, to essentially be finalized. So in other words, it inherits the security of Ethereum, which is really good. So there's two different ways right now, really, to do it, and you have optimistic rollups, which is what Optimism, obviously, and Arbitrum are, and they use a method to verify the proofs, which is essentially saying that, all right, all transactions on the layer 2 are valid unless they're disputed when batched to the main chain. And so there's about a week where you can essentially ask the validator, I forgot the actual word for it. You can ask the operator of the rollup to verify the transaction if you think it's not a valid transaction. So that's the optimistic way. And the ZK way is using zero knowledge proofs, which is like it's a cryptographic, it's a form of cryptography that allows you to prove something without having to share a lot of information, in other words, which is really nice. And there's a lot of potential use cases for it. It's pretty new, and there's a lot of different ways. There's a few different ways you can do it as well, or implement it. So ZK Sync is using zero knowledge proofs for verifying the validity of the transactions on layer 2. And then obviously submits those transactions back to the base layer. So it has some benefits to optimistic rollups in that all the transactions are actually valid from the time that they are actually submitted. There's no need for like fraud proofs or anything like that, and it's very secure in that way, and it's very trust minimized in that way as well. And obviously, the benefit with the layer 2 is that it's very cheap, it's very fast, and you still inherit the security of Ethereum. So, and ZK Sync specifically has already a lot of big players launching on there. I think Curve's going to launch on there, Uniswap. I think I heard Balance is going to launch on there.
Balancer. Oh, nice.
But it should be a good ecosystem.
Is it going to have its own token, or is it going to use Ethereum?
It will use Ethereum as gas, but it will have its own token as well, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Cool. Thanks for the explanation. Moving on to Dirk OZ. Question from a winemaker about the release of any new tools and previous mention of up to 200 extra corkers. How might they be offered to the marketplace equitably? Libra Panda. Auction, Dutch auction, and an Avalanche auction how-to. There's a link there. And I learned today that Dutch auction is a specific type of auction. I already knew that type of auction because they use it here at the flower sales auction. So this is a specific type of auction that simply starts with a very high price and then starts counting down the price up to a certain minimum And whenever someone agrees to the price, they pay that price. So it's sort of like it's working with FOMO, right? So if you want it, you can either pay the high price or try and wait for a lower price with the risk that someone else takes the lot. It's kind of interesting. So it's a very fast and efficient auction that they indeed use here for the flowers. So the question is that something that we're going to do for the 200 extra corkers, or did you have something else in mind?
Yeah. We'll do an auction. Not set on the exact type of auction and how that will be implemented. But they will be auctioned off. Plus, there'll be we'll give some away as well in our lottery that's coming up. As like a extra bonus. And there'll be 200 in total, or maybe 250 in total, which is essentially there's already 75 now, so it's minus that. So, yeah.
All right. Then we move on to Neat Grape's final question there. That's, hey, lettuce burrito. Do you have any more info about rewards for early Vinium users? Will they all come in the form of Vini tokens when it launches? Basically, how are you going to reward this?
Yeah, there'll be an airdrop for early users. So in the form of the token, yeah.
All right, and would that be for people who put up collateral, people who borrow, people who do both?
Yeah. You would need to essentially do both. Would be ideal for your chances. I haven't set in stone how it's gonna the exact criteria, but if you do both, it's pretty much very likely that you're gonna get a airdrop, obviously. But non-spam amounts, like not like 3 cents. What I mean, that's which we're trying. Like the point of the airdrop is obviously to reward people that provide value to the service. So if you don't provide any value to the service, well then you don't get an airdrop. As simple as that.
So either a decent amount of collateral and or a decent amount of borrowing, so that the interest goes up.
Yeah, something
or both.
like a non-spam amount.
Yeah. Okay. The non-spam amount will be specified later, I suppose. Moving on to the live chat. Of course, as always, and still, as we always do that, people are allowed to ask for the mic. It's just it. I know it doesn't happen. I don't know if people like to hear us talking or whatever else, but we do. In the beginning, like half a year ago, 3/4 of a year ago, people asked for the mic a lot more regularly. And I don't know if we're scary or whatever, but it's okay. We'll get you up on stage and you can ask your question if you want to. On the other hand, I'm happy to read them too. All right. Crypto Neo, that was the practice video. FTX was the deep state. They aren't paying attention. I'm pantering to myself. All right. And he's asking the hard-hitting questions. Yeah. We were discussing pre-AMA. We were discussing the FTX and what's going on with that, and it's just a pretty ridiculous situation. Okay. Chenko's wondering if Neat Grape is the cult leader. Right, Stevensberry, is there any chance of new tools? And should be huge quantity, because last time lots of us missed that the mint was too fast.
I mean, we are going to expand this Corker tool. We obviously will have more tools coming out, regardless. So yeah, but I think we probably, depending on how this one goes with auctions and whatnot, maybe a better option than a mint because then we can kind of control the spread a little bit better. It's a little bit more fair, in other words, than a mint gas hall almost. Because we do have to manage the number of tools. We can't have too many tools on each tool, because then they're essentially makes all the other tools valueless, especially if this tool is very good in itself. So there's a balancing act between, the tool actually holding value, and then ensuring that the other tools also aren't made redundant because of it. But then also allowing a reasonable amount of people to actually have the tools and gain the benefit from them. So
yeah, that's very clear. Like, we can constantly mint new stuff, but the old stuff needs to remain good, is what you're saying.
yeah.
And therefore needs to be done with some care. Okay. Before we're going to talk about me as a boss that people want to work for, I want to skip to Saint, who's saying probably should have expanded my reason for questioning. Is Vinium still set to launch on ZK Sync? Because I'm hyped for this. And also, I know the people want to hear about Grape Meme nodes. Please and danke. Oh, we're going German here, right?
Yeah, we will. We're actually writing some deploy scripts for ZK Sync right now for Vinium. So yes, we will launch it on ZK Sync testnet initially. The mainnet is live, but it's not actually a public mainnet right now. I think they have a schedule where they're going to do like a public mainnet right now, which is basically just for them to double check things and whatnot, and then they're going to open it up to developers, which will launch on there, and then after that they'll open it up to the public. So I think that maybe next year, early next year, is when they're set for that. Could be sooner, but I'm not sure. I think that's the plan. So yeah, anyway, we will be launching on there. So we want to, we're getting ready for that now, basically.
Cool stuff.
Oh
So
yeah, and
that's
the
standing
Grape
out.
Meme nodes need to. I need to finalize that. There's something I've been working on, but something that has kind of been distracted because of a little bit with Vinium, but it's I mean, it's going to be done. It's going to be done very soon.
All right. Cool. Definitely. So Vinium is just going to be on AVAX, and then when ZK Sync is launching and when it actually gets its shit done, then we'll be there as well. That's kind of the short answer of it.
Yeah.
All right. Neat Grape is mentioning that he wants me as my boss because he likes the good work-life philosophy, and Chenko is in agreement because of the freedom philosophy. Not having to meet and travel is good, but once again, an AGM party would be awesome. When Grape party. So in general, talking about philosophy, because that's kind of a baby of mine, I do feel that in this world we've grown accustomed to having others take responsibility for us. We've become very dependent upon our governments and stuff like that, and also our bosses, right? Depends on which country you're in. If you're in the US, it's your company. If you're in Europe, it's probably the government that you trust in. But as it were, we've kind of come to a certain place where we are not necessarily trusting ourselves to build up a certain thing, but we trust other people. And of course, for some aspects, that's good. For example, healthcare, you should be trusting other people, not necessarily yourself, because if you're sick, you cannot take care of yourself. However, in a lot of other aspects, it would be nice if you would be just, focusing on yourself and some ownership of your responsibility, but also your assets. And this is a bit of a mixture of different kinds of mainstream philosophies that I'd like to take. I do believe in a sort of communalism where people would be taking care of the people close to them. So sort of a tribal society, but at the same time, I believe that the original capitalism is really good, where if your work is good, you get paid more. I would simply like to see that as sort of a, if your community's work is good, then your community does better. So therefore, it's sort of like a free market, but still community based. And the last thing is I am kind of libertarian in a way that I feel that if you want to leave or you want to do it in a different way, then you should absolutely be able to. And it's kind of hard to mix all of that, but I am trying to do that because I'm actually trying to design the framework for a pyro society, and that's hard, but it's cool. So if anyone feels like joining me in that venture, then please have a look at what's actually in my bio, because Academia Intrinsically is focused on that. So kind of a plug, but then again, it's not something that is going to make money in the short run. So I just wanted to reflect on that a little bit. Okay. Cool. Neat Grape is saying, "Hey, tomorrow, LB, you can't tease us like that." Yeah, well, it's gonna come when it's coming, right? So it would probably be Wednesday. Neat Vintage. Hey, LB, any updates on Winemaker? Any crossover tools with bottom projects? Also, we need badges for the top 20 players. And the tools updates have already been. So the remaining questions would be any crossover tools with bottom projects and badges.
Yeah, there's something we're working on now to like do cross promotions with different other GameFi groups, because AVAX is pretty GameFi, and as well, like just other standard projects. So we've general projects. So we've been talking to some to kind of figure out what we can do that's mutually beneficial, but cross promotional and something fun as well. So that will come, but we'll do the finish off the corkers first with the auction, and essentially the tools are will be coming post that. The new tools will be coming post that, and probably there'll be a new contract we're working on. Still in sort of brainstorm stage, but it's more like almost like a quest version of essentially, I want to call it quests. There'll be something, some extra sort of mechanism that you can use to improve your winery, so to say. Don't have the full details on it yet. Don't want to give too many details on it yet, but they'll be coming post launch of Vinium. We can kind of round up a couple things as well. Now it's part of partly with Winemaker as well. So yeah, a couple things coming for that, but more details soon.
Pretty cool. So quests, as in trader's quests or something, like try and within a certain time period get something done, stuff like that, or story based stuff, or what. I know you said you don't want to divulge too much, but what kind of thing are we vaguely talking about here?
Like a new mechanism with more with different skills that you can kind of level up using your characters. It'll still be more like idle based as the game is now,
Right.
but a new mechanism to kind of allow you to level up more things and have different benefits associated with that, with those levels. So essentially, like an extension of the current game, with more features.
Right. Cool. I mixed up Neat Grape and Neat Vintage. Of course, the Neat community is getting, it's all just names, man. It's hard. Okay. Uh, someone wants Neat Cult. Okay. Neat X Grape. I'm sorry. Torok. Hey, is that from Avatar? Yeah, I think so. Hey, LB. I've noticed that Grape Finance, from the point of view in terms of marketing and publicity, is not doing very well. I feel that the project should be more mentioned on Twitter to attract new people. Question marks.
Well, I
have an
mean,
opinion on that as well, but
I don't know. Like, I don't think we do badly. Like, we have 25, 40, 50,000 impressions a month usually on Twitter. Like, I don't know if obviously the market is really bad. Like, I mean, we'll run some marketing when we launch, Vinny and whatnot. But at the same time, it's not like it's not supposed to be some like hype, pump and dump, like short term hype move. It's a totally different thing.
yeah.
It's we're not doing some like hype campaign. We're doing a
No. I think that would be disastrous, by the way, if we would do that. Because, no, really, because the human mind works in such a way that it simply connects situations to each other. And right now we are in an environment where a lot of people are thinking negatively about the market in general, about investing in general, and they're thinking negatively about crypto in general because of all the news. So right now, if you're going to seek attention about a crypto project where you're asking for investment, then people are not necessarily going to listen to what you have to say. They're simply going to connect it to their general mood, which is very negative. So if you seek publicity right now in this market at this moment, then there's a high chance that you would simply find a lot of people who are going to decide it is a scam before they've even read a word. And that is why I think right now publicity is not something that we should be seeking, except when it is word of mouth publicity. Like if you have a friend and you want to get them involved, but you also want to take the time to explain why it might be a good idea and also the risks, right? Always be fair, but then do so. Please do so. But if it would just be sort of a marketing campaign where you try to get people, you try to attract new people who haven't understood a thing of it yet, then be rest assured that they will already have an opinion based on whatever the recent news has been. And therefore I think if we seek publicity, then we need to be in a situation where we bring something entirely new, or at least we will be able to frame it in such a way that immediately people will start thinking, oh, but wait, they're doing something different from what's been done in the last couple of years, so it might be worth it to actually hear them out. And as long as we're not poised to do such a thing yet, then I think that publicity seeking is just a waste of money and might even be detrimental rather than positive. That's my opinion. Like, I don't know if you agree, I'll be.
That is spot on. 100%. That's exactly what I'm trying to say here too. It's like, I mean, this is not a hype market. This is not like if we try and do it, you may get some like a short term pump, and then it's immediately going to dump again. Like there's nothing that can sustain. Short term pumpage is like short term sightedness, and unfortunately, in this market, people aren't throwing money around. They're not throwing money around into the latest hype thing. They're not looking for hype thing, as you say. They are looking for cool things.
Safety.
Yeah, safety and cool things that they want to trial and kind of make use of for the next bull run. And I get where it like comes from. I get the idea of everybody wants price pump. Everybody wants $50 grape or whatever. I mean like $5,000 wine. Everybody wants that, and they think that if we just did more marketing, we just pumped it out more, we just did more AMAs, or we released like 5,000 new things, that it's going to pump the price. But like, if liquidity is being sucked out in the billions from this market, where is that? Like, to pump the price, money needs to come in to buy it. But if billions are being sucked out, literally, like, how is it going to happen? That's the main driver. So we need to be very structured, very focused on what we actually do here. Not waste money on bullshit hype campaigns, but make a proper brand with a proper product that sets a very good foundation in the market right now, especially for the next bull market. So when it comes around, we are very much in a very good position for that.
That, and also just answer that question, right? If so many billions of dollars are being sucked out of the market recently, like, how would we be countering that? Because there obviously are ways to be sort of a money vortex yourself, and I think X-Grape collateral is such a thing, especially when it increases in liquidity. So if that works at some point, and it can start working with just our community, we don't need a lot of new people to have it start working. It can simply start working with our community, and then as soon as it works, if you then look at publicity, go and find publicity and say, hey, we found something that actually works, and here's our proof, because people are making money out of this, and it's going the right way, and it's even sustainable and safe, or at least as safe as a crypto project can be, or a senior protocol can be, but let's say sustainable. If people play it in a not too extremely risky way, then it definitely is and can be. So if we put up that as proof, it's not just empty promises, and people can look at the charts and say, oh, all right, they actually might be onto something here. And now then, if you then go and look for publicity, and you push that in people's faces, like, here's our charts, see, we can do this with our community, then you might have a good way, and actually be the one and only in a vast range of places that actually does good, because there are some projects that are actually doing good, and I think Grape is doing good right now, and simply continuing development, and from that development will absolutely spring sort of a personal bullish sentiment. It just momentum is very important here, and for momentum to start in a good way, it's very important to not jump the gun, so to speak, also with publicity seeking. Yeah. Cool. Where are we? Neat Grape says, bold of you to assume Twitter will still exist. Yeah, that's kind of true too. Chenkle Neat X Grape wants to know any update on other Grape Walrus nodes to be migrated to X tokens or something.
Yeah, that's the same as Grape Meme. It's a bit easier than Grape Meme, so that might actually happen first on my end. So yeah.
Cool. Um, Need Grape wants to know: do you have any cool Vinium stats based on beta usage? Anything surprised you so far?
It's actually been pretty smooth. I'm very pleased with that.
Yeah.
I liquidated myself, which is good. It
Well
worked very
done.
nicely. So that's nice. Obviously, it's good to make sure that works on mainnet, but it does, so it's good. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been very smooth. I've kind of just been looking at things like the interest rates that I mentioned earlier, of how we can be or how we can adjust things nicely for what we're kind of aiming to do. And then also working on kind of the phase 2 in the meantime, because we'll need sort of another layer where we interface with vaults, so that people can get auto compounding returns at the same time as borrowing against it and likely leveraging it, and then using flashlights for that. So that's kind of what I've been more focused on, considering it's been very smooth, which is great.
Yeah. And is this do you mean people having various risk assessment, like various risky positions, like for example having a high risk position and a low risk position, and that those are separated, or were you talking something else?
What do you mean by that? In on
Well, I was, of course, I was making the educational videos, and in that, I was saying like, hey, if you want to have a high risk position, for example, like a leverage long, and you want to combine that with a low risk position, for example, delta neutral yield farming somewhere, then I'm simply giving the solution to use multiple wallets, so that if your leverage long gets liquidated, your delta neutral leverage position is still fine. Um,
Mhm.
but I kind of didn't fully understand what you meant, what you were still saying about what you were still trying to develop. So I was wondering if you were going to integrate that in a way that it could be done with a single wallet, but
Well, I
like
mean,
simply not.
we will have risk based on the asset itself. Obviously, things like Xgrape that are higher risk because of lower liquidity will be in an isolated pool. So that's already technically,
Yeah,
you can use the same wallet for that because it's in an isolated pool. But for things like uh, leveraging LPs, like an AVAX USDC LP, it's the risk is managed. Essentially, it's cross margin here, where you can use, if you want to totally isolate that risk, you would need to use a different account, but you can minimize the risk by also combining the delta neutral position with the leveraged LP position, on using cross margin, because now you have more collateral available to protect your LP position. You are risking your whole
yeah,
account, but at the same time, you are uh,
safer.
safer with more
Yeah,
leeway,
true.
which I think is a nice, like composable way. It's something very different from other leverage yield farms too, um, where it's usually all isolated. Um, and so here you can kind of do pretty unique strategies and have different risk profiles. Um, you combining those strategies, in other words.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. Like if you want to do if you actually want that, if you want your high risk position protected by your low risk position, then
Mm.
it's actually really nice. That could be one account. Twinkle wants to be know No, I think it's Neat Grape. Yeah. Like, were you the first person to get liquidated on Vinium, or did someone beat you to it?
Well, I actually left it for a bit to kind of see if bots would pick it up, but they didn't. So I just liquidated myself. But to be fair, the amount was like $5. So I mean, I'm not expecting like a bot to waste their time on $5.
Yeah, okay.
So
Uh, do you have your like you liquidated yourself? Was this a manual action, or
yeah.
you have some extra? Do you have some bots in the background to liquidate low amount positions? Because obviously someone can just create 500 low amount positions and then trust for them to not get liquidated or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. I mean, we will be running bots, obviously, that scan
Yeah.
health positions and whatnot to liquidate when it's profitable for them to do it. So,
Okay.
and the thing is, if all of them are combined in the one, and they're all in an unhealthy position, then it becomes profitable to kind of batch that all together, even um, rather than going one by one. Because sometimes, if it's like $2, like you borrowed $2 and you're going to be liquidated for $1, it's not really profitable. But if you can combine that with several other strategies that are also in a poor health factor at the same time, well, then it's why not? It's basically free at that point because you're already running the transaction.
Yeah. Okay. Chenko is saying, "Oh boy, like LB answering now, cutting the bullshit of hype marketing. LB is a little low, but it's true though. Hype marketing is just nonsense, and we've been using it ourselves in the bull market.
It works really
because
good
then,
for a bull market because people
and,
are
yeah,
all over the place, and you kind of need
yeah,
a little bit of that to
yeah.
cut through, grab the attention. But like
But right now, it wouldn't
yeah.
be.
Otherwise, in saying like the best marketing, as you already mentioned as well, but the best marketing in general of any business is word of mouth marketing because it comes from the actual users of the product. It's basically free, and it spreads really well, and it's a very high conversion rate. In other words, because it's coming from someone that you know usually you tell your friend or whatever, so there's already an area of trust there. It's not just like a post or something that you kind of have to trust that was probably paid for anyway, that you kind of know about that as well. But if it's and word of mouth compounds really well. And how do you get word of mouth, like genuine word of mouth advertising? Well, you make a really good product that people want to use. That's basically it.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna end with two questions from Chenko and Neat Grape on the X Grape pool. The first one is: do we have a rough ETA on the X Grape pool, likely in the coming days or still a few weeks away? And the second one is: would it be possible to align the X Grape pool for Vinium with the migration of MIM grape nodes?
Well, we're going to do phase 1 launch, which is the current platform that the beta users have been using on Wednesday. They'll be for public. And the X-ray pool is technically live on mainnet, but that will probably launch the week after. And then phase 2, which is other LPs and larger liquidity LPs and whatnot, will launch soon after that. And aligning X-ray pool with Vinium. With the great meme nodes. I don't know what you mean by that. Like same timing or because I mean
The migration of the meme grape nodes he's gonna clarify right now. I think I have sort of an idea, but
I mean,
Neat
yeah,
Grape also wants to know, what do you mean by technically live on mainnet? Well, that means that it is on mainnet. It's just that the link is not known by everyone. Just like
yeah,
right now, Vinium is already in beta. It works, but you need to have the link for it to use it. So it's just the
yeah.
publicity of the thing. Yeah, it says time for me to furiously try every link I can think of. We're waiting for. Okay, Chenko says my notes are stuck right now. If you migrate in time, Xgrade pool is live. I can use it on Vinium. So sort of like he wants to, get out of the nodes, I think, and get into Xgrade. That's sort of the idea that I'm
Yeah,
getting.
I mean, to do that, I would need to end the nodes. In other words,
Yeah.
because if you migrate, well, then you technically, in a locked pool with, a press pool or whatnot.
Yeah. Chenko, can I invite you on stage to clarify your question? Is that okay? I'm simply gonna put him on stage if I find him. Oh, there he is. No, not kick or ban. Where is he? Invite to sir. No. Where is that? Invite to speak. Oh, on the top. Okay. Let's see if he responds. There he is. Hello.
Yeah, so the question is the migration. Can you hear me well?
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, I'm all right. The question is if the migration happens in time of the X grade pool being live, even I know it's not going to be unlocked, but it's just like something's going to be coming out so it can feed in the X grade pool venue. Not trying to connect them, just if they kind of go live about the same time, the migration on the X grade pool, so we can like use it, because right now it is 0.002. It just you can't use it.
Well, yeah, that makes that is something I can definitely do. Like, it's something I can do right now. Is I can increase the APR on the LP nodes. Like, I can do it right now. To make it to actually allow you to earn to anything. So, but
Yeah,
I
don't
can.
get my press will probably be better, but yeah, either way, it's just something to use and be able to put that on Vinion, because now we're just a bit stuck.
Well, that's the idea with some sort of migration, so that there's some return, much better than it is now. But in the meantime as well, and so yeah, I think we will kind of want to align those two launches. In other words, because it makes the most sense to do so. So we'll aim for that.
Yeah.
But I can also increase the LPs now, the LP node now, as well. It is not the auto compounding token though, but you can get the LP.
I would say just keep it for the press, man. I mean, everyone loves the press. I mean, that's my own opinion. But just if you want to boost anything, just when you migrate, then boost in the press, because everyone will jump in the press. And if the press is generating activate, let's say it's great price only, but wherever the price is, if it's generating X rate, I can just kind of feed some X rate into Vinium, some X rate compounds, and you can like play with it.
Yeah, it will. It will. I will convert it into Xgrape, in the migration.
Nice, yeah, just boosted that. We want X rate.
Yeah, easy.
Nice.
Good.
Thanks for the meet,
Thank you
Mike.
so much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Of course, yeah, you can always get the mic, right? If you have a proper question you want to explain a certain thing. Thank you for actually coming on stage for that, and also thank you for your suggestion and for your thinking along with the protocol. This is what we have a community for, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, yeah, I'm gonna get you off stage. So if you want to say bye, do it now.
Bye bye.
So yeah. Cheers.
Move to audience. All right. Thanks everyone for listening in. I am gonna sign off on this. I don't have any more alpha to share. I don't know if LB does or whether he just wants to say goodbye. But thank you all for listening and see you next time.
Yeah, I mean, thanks everyone for listening. I mean, I think I've shared some good alpha this week. Early on, some announcements will come along with that too. So yeah, stay tuned, guys.